right. So welcome to Mind Body Recovery. We are going to be working on some hip and shoulder and back. Hopefully I'll get to everything today that we can, or that I kind of had planned in my mind. So today you're going to need a hand towel of some sort, or a yoga strap, or even a nice resistance band that you can hang on to when we do some of our shoulder things. And then we're going to start out in a chair. So if you have two chairs, you can kind of put them in this position, or bring one chair right up next to your couch or your bed or something like that. If you have a little step stool, this is my little baby step stool today, this little toddler chair, that might be good too. So we're just going to go through some modifications or variations, whatever you want to call them, for people with really tight hips, because I just figure, you know, I do a lot of this on the floor, but not everyone's able to do some of these things and it's uncomfortable. So I just want you to have a couple modifications to go off of every once in a while. So we are going to start with our hips. So you can put your foot on your ground, or you can put your foot on the little step stool, or you can put your foot on the other chair in front of you, or the couch in front of you. And all we're going to do is just take that knee and let it go in and out. Okay, so you're just rotating or mobilizing in that hip socket. The knee is moving out and in. And I'm hoping this side position will work here. And right now you can relax back into your chair back. So it's kind of like a half of a butterfly, right? And now that we've done a good 10 or so, we're gonna just keep the knee out, and I want you to push into that knee and kind of resist a little bit, pulling the knee this way, pushing with the hand that way. And then go in and out of it again a couple times. And once again, we'll push into that knee and go in and out of it a couple times. And let's switch over to the other leg. So you're putting it on that floor or the step stool, or just a little bit higher. If you put it up higher, it'll kind of simulate like sitting on the ground still. So out and in. That's why I wanted to show this variation of sometimes we're sitting if it's too much. And now just hold it out, and you're going to push into it. Give it a little extra resistance there. And then release and go in and out again a couple times. And then push down. Kind of push into your hand with your leg and push your hand, your vice versa. And then go in and out a couple times. Just getting everyone added on to the class here. And once again, another push. Resisting against your hand and your leg, and in and out. And now we're going to bring both feet up onto your step stool, or you're going to bring them onto your chair or your couch. So you're up here, and we're going to take advantage of sitting up against that chair. So I'd be close like this, or down here on your step stool. Okay, so bringing that stool kind of close. We're going to bring our legs in and then really press them out. In and press them out. So if we change positions in our body, so if we scooch our buns forward a little bit more and lean back into our chair, this is going to be that froggy position on the ground where our hips are a little bit straighter. But again, not everyone wants to lay face up. Not everyone's able to. So I just want to make sure you guys have options. You can have your feet up higher on that other chair or on your couch or your bed. And let's go ahead and sit up a little bit higher. So you're going to lean forward. And now you're simulating that butterfly with both legs. So even though we're leaning forwards, we're not rounding forward. We're just kind of pushing that chest forward, sticking the hips back behind us. And I can be really close to my couch with my legs up like this. Again, that would be simulating that floor again, if you don't have the step stool. So on this next one, you're gonna hold it down. You're gonna push into your thighs and then resist with your hands. Keep contracting and then go through your motion again. And again, hold it down, push down with your hands, pull up with your legs against each other. And in and out. So much more effective than just trying to push and hold that stretch. One more time. Push into your legs, resist against each other. And open and close again. Good. So now we're going to get a little bit more into the piriformis muscle. So you're going to go ahead and cross. So this is where you might, just for modification, you might cross your lower leg over the opposite outer thigh. So just like this. So we're not quite in that figure 4, but it's up, almost like you're going to go into crossing your legs. Okay. If you want a little bit extra stretch, you're going to be able to bring that foot up on your step stool. Okay. Whatever feels best. And we can just stay in the modified. We'll end up coming down to the ground as well if you want to. So this time we're actually going to pull that knee to the opposite shoulder. Okay. And then from here, we're going to twist a little bit. Because we're sitting versus lying on the ground, okay, so on the ground, we'd be able to probably pull that hip off the ground a little higher and get that deeper stretch. Here we're going until, oh, it says it's going to stop, and then I get that little extra twist. Okay, continue to go in and out of this on that same side. Bringing the foot up is going to intensify that quite a bit more. And again, those of us that are pretty unflexible, you can scooch back and just have this chair almost like you're lying on the ground. So you think about that person, keep going on that side. You might be that person that when we do this stuff, you're super tight and you're not even able to grab your leg, right? Or it's really a lot of straining. You're not able to relax onto the ground. You've now given your body that chance to somewhat relax that upper body into your chair. Just changing the position against gravity is really what you're doing. Good. Should feel this really deep into the outside of that hip. So now on this next one, we're going to hold, we're going to twist, and you're going to try to push your leg into your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move in and out of it 2 more times. Breathe through it. Now hold it in again tight. Push against your hands. Pull with your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go in and out. Last one. Pull with your arms. Push with your leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're going to go to that other side. You can be on the ground here if you don't have a little stool, or you can come up with your feet up on your couch or your chair. So just crossing that lower ankle, okay, you're going to start to pull that leg in towards the opposite shoulder, and then give it a little twist because you're sitting now instead of lying on the ground. And then go in and out of that. Pulling in, And opening up a little bit through that body. Pull in, down. If I was on the ground, and again, we'll try to, if we have time today, we'll go to the ground, but we've done a lot of these on the ground. I might bring everything in or just that one side and pull it over, and you can see how my hip will move, but I can't move my back. So we're just doing the opposite. We're rotating from the trunk, which changes that feeling in the stretch. So now we're at about that point where you're gonna pull in, push with your leg, pull with your hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do a couple open and close. And find your end point. Come in as far as you can, twist as far as you can, and now resist against each other with the leg and the hands for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, rotate, breathe through it. Hold this one last time, big pull in, and now resist for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Take that down and relax. So our feet are going to be on the ground, and we're going to work on hinging at the hips, and we'll let those hands come down to the ground, or maybe your step stool. Okay. And then vary this around. Maybe you're able to get your forearms down. If you don't have a little step stool, same thing. We hinge forward onto our couch or our other chair. Get the forearms down. Your knees are angling out. You're trying to bring your rib cage through your groin. And this might allow you just to relax a little bit more into this stretch. Our knees are bent, so really we're taking the focus not so much when we sit on the ground and our legs are straight out into a big V and we get a lot more inner thigh and hamstring. We're able to just take out the hamstring and really get into the inner thighs. And from here, I want you to wiggle your rib cage from side to side as if you're touching the outside of the rib cage to the right inner thigh, outside of the rib cage to the left inner thigh, going back and forth with your rib cage. Now, if you don't have anything in front of you and you feel comfortable, you can let the body hang a little bit here if you're able to get those hands on the ground. Side to side. And bring it up. So hopefully you have a couch or another chair or ottoman or something in front of you. It doesn't have to be perfectly lined up. This is like the ideal situation here. So I'm going to scooch forward and we're going to actually get into like a half of a pigeon pose. So I'm going to get my lower leg on the couch in front of me or the other chair. Okay. This foot's just on the ground. And now I'm going to come forward into that pigeon pose and then come back. Let's just move in and out of that, coming forward. Just so you know what I'm referencing, this is similar to when we're on the ground, right? And we're extending and we're kind of coming down into that hip. We just don't have that back leg extended right now. But you still should feel a nice stretch. And this is a little bit more comfortable for people that aren't able to put the weight on to that leg or that knee or that hip. Every time you go forward, just exhale and try to go a little deeper. Perhaps you want to come all the way down and just kind of relax. I'm going to bring this out in front a little bit. Breathing deep into your exhale. And we're gonna switch sides. So you'll bring that other leg up. And getting that shin kind of parallel with the body, depending upon what the leg lets you do. Slowly start going in and out of it. Good. We might just not do the ground. Many of you have done classes before, and we've done a lot of these from the ground. So this is just a nice mix. So let's just hold this one forward and breathe through it. See if you can go a little deeper as you're exhaling. And bring it up. Good. So nice big stretch through the hips. So we are going to turn sideways on our chair. I'm hoping that everyone found a chair without arms on it. Otherwise, you might want to come to the edge of a stool if you have an ottoman or edge of your bed. So we want one hip or one thigh on the chair and one off. And we're going to just drop that knee underneath the thigh there. Okay, so from the side, we're looking like this. Bringing that knee right under, just opening up through the front of the hip. Okay, and just pushing into this leg. You can use your chair back. Okay, so from here, we're just going to stay upright for now. And I want you to think about pushing your rib cage forward and pulling your shoulders back. Going into extension and really getting a nice lengthening through the front of this hip. And I'm just tucking my toes under. It might feel better if you just put the top of your foot into the ground. So just going to change that stretch a little bit down in your quad. And now let's come forward, and you're going to go into that forward position here, continuing to drop the knee under. And then if you feel comfortable, you're going to go into that extension. So you're going to allow the chair to support your body weight versus being on the ground in that low lunge. And then if you're comfortable from here, play around with it. See what it feels like to push your body up into hyperextension and go in and out of this a few times. Don't force anything. Breathe through it. You can either inhale or exhale on the way up. You're trying to support this leg and this hip into your chair or couch, whatever you're on. And then one last one, you're going to pull that knee underneath you again. And now you're going to go ahead and lean towards your chair back or off to the side. So if you're comfortable, you can put your hand here or here, and we're going to reach over like we're making a rainbow. If you want to come down even further, you'll just bring your hand down, let your shoulder go towards your chair back and reach up and over. This knee is going to want to come out, right? So we're trying to pull it in using the inner thigh and get a nice stretch through this whole side of the body. See if you can let that head drop. And we're going to switch sides. So you just turn your chair or just rotate, turn the other way if you don't need to look at me. You'll place your other hip and thigh on the chair, and then the leg goes right underneath you. So be picky. Try not to let this knee come inside. There's a big angle there. Bring it right out in front. So that's going to change how it feels in your hips. And again, you can tuck your toes under back there, or you can just let the top of your foot fall into the ground. And right now we're upright. And we're going to go ahead and go into extension. You're pressing your rib cage forward, opening up, trying to touch the shoulders to the wall behind you. And bring it back up. Okay, and this time we're going to start to go forward and then extend or reach that back leg back if you can. So you've got most of your weight into this chair. Okay. And if you feel comfortable, you're going to go into extension again. Now, not everyone's foot, I should have probably said this on the other side, not everyone's foot is going to touch the ground because your lower leg might be short. So you might have to get a book or something or a few magazines to put right underneath your foot to raise that up so you can really relax this leg into the chair. Silly me, sorry. Breathe through it. Really feel that lengthening through the whole front of the body. Remember, this is where we're all tight and closed up. Good. And then we're going to bring that leg under, so the knee's underneath the hip again. And then you're either grabbing this chair and going off to the side, or if you're comfortable with letting your arm hang, bring that shoulder towards the chair back. Check this leg out. Use your inner thigh to kind of pull under and just hold that there. And then add that arm. We're trying to avoid rounding over, right? So you want to stay in this nice aligned position with your hips. As soon as you let your shoulders go forward, you're in that flexed tight position again. So we're trying to open everything up. So that may mean you can only go this far and that's it. But don't go further if you need to lean forward to do it. Feel that lengthen all the way down. And then carefully bring it back up again. Good. So we're going to make our way. We're going to still use our chair. And we're going to make our way to the floor or your couch. You'll be in front of your chair or your couch. And we're going to go into our shoulders and our back here. So we've got an elevated position. What I like about this is, you know, you don't have to put the pressure too much on your hips and knees as much, and you're not starting with your arm all the way up here. You're able to start up and you'll just kind of come back a little bit and then forward. So we're varying this around, just placing the palms into your chair. And you can even sink your face and your shoulder, or your chest, I should say, down further if you're mobile enough. We're not forcing. We're just kind of going in and out of this again, finding your end point till you feel a good stretch. And bring it up. On this next one, we're going to hold this stretch. Take a really big inhale. Expand that rib cage. Get open up on the side of the rib cage. And as you exhale, just start to sink a little bit deeper. And then come up. So we're going to change the positioning of our hands, and we're going to bring the upper arm onto our chair, okay, or our bench, couch, whatever. And go ahead and keep your hands together for now. And now your elbows are bent and you're gonna sit your hips back a little bit. That face and the head comes between the upper arms and then come up again. So again, hands together, elbows stay bent the entire time. Fingertips or knuckles towards the ceiling. Sit back, my elbows are right on the edge of my chair or my couch, my bench. Let's hold this for a little bit here. Some of you may be way up here. Don't force anything. Find your end point and let's hold it with some breathing. Inhale and expand the rib cage. You're stretching out those upper back muscles. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. And carefully bring it back up again. A little bit more intense, probably. If you have really hypermobile shoulders, that's not always a good thing either. That means we have to strengthen and do a lot more stabilizing stuff. So now we're gonna actually thread the needle on our chair. So you can kneel for this one or you can stand. Just play around with how it feels. So you're going to reach one arm underneath and you're gonna get the outside of that shoulder, okay, here. And then you're gonna work on rotating the chest and the forehead towards your couch or your chair and kind of letting the body weight gently sink into it. And then you can come out of it a little bit and then sink into it. If you want to, you can stand and have your hips up, depending upon the mobility in your shoulder. And we've done these on the ground before. Again, people might have been forcing themselves just because we were on the ground. This way, you can kind of put a little bit less pressure into it. The key here is to avoid letting that arm travel up towards the chin. There should be some space between your chin and your arm here. And then I'm just bringing my chest and my face down. And breathe. So we were moving in and out of it, and now we're just gonna hold. This other hand is just allowing some comfort, right? So that I don't just put my whole weight onto my arm if that doesn't feel comfortable. But as you're able to relax a little bit more, you might be able to just get rid of that. But don't force anything. It's always there just in case you need to push out of it a little. And let's try to do that other side. I'm just gonna turn my chair. So again, we just thread that needle to kind of get into that position. So the outside of the shoulder, notice again how my arm's not way up here. It's down by my clavicle, by my chest. There's space here. And then I start to rotate my chest and my forehead towards that upper arm. And let's move in and out of it a little bit so you can twist out of it and then come back into it. Twist out of it and then back into it. And we can always be standing, and that's going to allow this to be open a little bit more depending upon your shoulder mobility. And on this next one, we're just going to hold this down, keep breathing. Inhaling through your nostrils, expanding those rib cages, and exhaling through your pursed lips. Each time sinking a little bit deeper. If something is pinching or hurting, just make sure you move around a little bit. You don't want it to hurt. And you'll start to come out of that. Good. So we're going to go ahead and turn sideways to our couch or our chair. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to keep the palm in this position, elbow stays up, and we're going to sink our shoulder lower than our elbow, and we'll just come in and out of that. So it's kind of like a deep, really bad push-up position. So we're really low, but we're really stretching out the front of that shoulder socket. And just pay special attention to this shoulder as you're sinking deeper. It might want to elevate, okay? We want to try to keep that arm in the socket and really stretch here, okay? So only go to where you feel comfortable. You can have that other hand on the ground here, so you're not holding yourself up with this hand, but rather the one that's on the ground. And you can do this against a countertop standing. Let's come in and out a few more times. Remember, check that shoulder, that it does not shrug up towards your ear. We're going to do one more, and this time when you get to the bottom of your motion, you're going to push as hard as you can into your chair or your couch with that hand for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do not come out of it. See if you can actually sink. Oh yeah, a little bit lower. Let's do that one more time. Push hard for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sink a little deeper. And bring it up. Good. Whew. Other side. I'm wooing for you. I assume you are feeling it. So fingertips are here, side facing, so just turn your body the other way. This hand will come to the ground. You can be doing this on a countertop as well, standing next to your countertop or the back of your couch or something. So no shrugging, keep that shoulder down and start to sink down and come in and out of it a little bit, just to, I would say to myself, just test the waters. Where am I feeling it? What's it feeling like? How low can I go? You're using that arm on the floor for support. Just a little reminder about the shoulder. It wants to creep up towards the ear. Keep it back. You're elbowing the ceiling right now. On this next one, let's hold it to our deepest position. And we're going to push that hand into our chair as hard as we can for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do not come out of it. See if you can sink a little lower. And again, press for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sink a little lower as you breathe. And one more time for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently sink. And start to carefully bring it up. Good. Let's roll those shoulders around. Good. We're coming back to our chair. And we're going to sit on our chair or the edge of our bed or our couch. And primarily taking your cushion off your couch, unless it's a really firm one. If it doesn't come off, that's fine, because then you get a little firmer. Now, if you have a chair, you might be able to change positioning so that your palms are kind of resting and your fingertips are going on the outside edge. If you don't have that, you're just going to kind of hide those hands under, well, if you have a couch, you can put them right at your side. That's where you want to be. My hands don't fit on my chair on the outside of my hip, so I had to put them here. I'm actually going to go on the outside because that's a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to just press into the chair or the couch and getting kind of depressing our shoulder, and we're going to lift our rib cage up, if you think about that. So it's spine comes up, so you feel like you're a little bit lighter, and then just relax back down again. So pushing down, straightening out the arms. We're not leaning forward at all, and then release. So what's happening, again, your body is coming up, so that humerus is going down into that shoulder socket versus always being up and rotated forward. And then release. Good. So it's technically a strengthener, but it's, you know, it's a mobilizer as well, because you need to be able to mobilize or move that humerus appropriately. So we're holding and then release. The people I can see on the screen look good. Make sure you're not doing like this dip hold where your hips are out in front. We want our hips to be right in between our hands if we can, so that everything is aligned with the body. And press and hold. You should feel these muscles. You should feel your chest and your lats, the back muscles engaging, and release. We're going to do one more. Yes, you're going to feel it in your wrists, but it's not your whole body weight. And your wrists need to get strong and mobile as well. And release. Good. So we're going to bring it to standing, okay? And we're using our chair. So oftentimes we'll have you grab your leg and go like this, and then runs out of balance. So a couple positions you can play around with today, since we have this chair or the couch to our advantage, is you can come probably face the chair here. So you're going to bring your knee onto your chair, and then you're going to reach back and you're going to grab, and you can hang on to that chair back. And you work on driving the hip forward and then releasing. Driving the hip forward and releasing. Okay, so that's one position. And this right here, you know, you might not be able to bring your heel all the way to your seat, but what's more important is that you're trying to get the hips and the rib cage stacked again. So you're not always flexing, you're opening up and lengthening here with those, okay? So holding that or going in and out of that. Some of you could just simply, you have to be very careful, or turn and face the other way and just let the top of your foot rest into your chair back. You might have to come off to the side of your chair or the front. And now you're just letting the chair hold your leg, or your couch hold your leg, and then you're coming forward and back. And if you have a hard chair, you can always double up your towel, put that there, coming forward and back. Couple other variations, just stay on your same leg for now. You can keep practicing, maybe find a different position. I can put my foot up against my couch, get my knee really close, get my foot up there, and then I can work on my couch is not going to move, right? And then I can work on pushing my hips back again. Very similar to that standing one you're doing. But now I'm on the ground. So all of these variations to really lengthen through that quadriceps. If you got a lot of anterior knee pain, right, going on, it's very important that you really start to mobilize and get long through the front of the hips and through the entire quadricep muscle group all the way across the front of the knee. Because if you're stuck here, right, or if your hip doesn't even go straight, that's how tight these muscles are in front. So you might not be able to come all the way back. You might have to stay here and drive the hip here and back. So we're going to go into the other leg, and you can continue to stay along with me and do all these different variations, or just pick one and stay in it. So I'm going to grab that back leg, and I can kneel into my chair or my couch and go forward and back. Moving your body is about learning to vary those positions. These all are effective mobilizing exercises. One's not better than the other. For someone, this might be perfect for them. For another person, this next one might be perfect for them, where they can stand and then get their foot on the couch. Maybe you might have to have something else to hang on to, get that foot up to the back side of the couch or the chair, okay, and moving into that, okay, or driving the hip back, driving the hip forward to lengthen here. And then that next position, if you want to continue to play around with me, is I'm going to bring my knee to the ground and then my foot against my chair or my couch. I mean, you could even scoot yourself up against the wall, but your foot will be like that against the wall. And you can come back into it and lunge forward, or maybe this is where you need to be and you're driving your buns back this way and forward. Oop. I'm sorry, Karen. I don't know how long you've been waiting there. I just noticed that. All right, so we're going to come to the ground for this last few minutes. Well, we have 10 minutes left, but I wanted to go through some shoulder stuff with your towel, okay? So you need your towel or a strap or something of that sort. And then if we get to it, we're gonna do a little banana stretch too for our backs. So getting onto the ground or onto your bed, and you're grabbing your towel or your strap. And the most important thing we're gonna do right now is we are gonna work on pulling out into this towel as hard as we can and pushing forward. So practice that right now. So you're pulling out and then you're pushing and lengthening the arms and reaching them out. So you're gonna really open up the back side of the shoulders and the upper back. Okay, so that's that position. We'll do it one more time. You're pulling out and simultaneously you're pushing forward. So that's that position you want to think about as we move here to the floor. So we're going to start with our knees pulling in towards our chest, tucking them in nice and tight. You're pulling out and you're pushing up towards the ceiling. And you're going to tuck your chin, okay? And we're going to come up and we are going to try to come around those feet. Keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward. And then we're going to come up and over and then down. And again, we pull out, reach up, curl, pull those knees in, go around your feet. Maybe this is as far as you can get. Keep reaching and come around And we're coming back again. And back. Taking those feet onto the ground. Okay, we are going to avoid arching the back. So you're going to keep the rib cage pressing into the back and just this tiny little squeeze through your seat muscles. Okay, so we're going to pull out into the towel. Okay, but this time we're going to drive the shoulders back into the ground, but keep pulling as hard as you can into your towel as the back of your hands go towards the floor. Keep pulling really hard into your towel or your band or your strap, whatever you have today. And then just relax. We're going to do that again. So just set everything in your trunk. So kind of tilt the pelvis back a little bit. So we're squeezing our bum. We're not lifting the hips right now. We're just kind of squeezing like we're going to go into a lift. Contracting here to brace. Pull hard as you can out. And you're going to drive the back of the shoulders into the floor. Neck is long. And keep reaching over your head. We're not elevating right now. Keeping the arms down. Pull as hard as you can into your towel with straight arms. My arms are quivering. I'm pulling hard. Come all the way up. And then back down. Good. And relax. We're going to do one more of these guys. So you're going to tuck those knees in, pull out into your towel, reach up to the ceiling and then start to curl up. And you're going to reach around. Maybe that's as far as you can get. Keep reaching all the way to the floor and pulling out into my towel hard. And then coming up and all the way down. Get ready for the next one. Pull out, brace through your core. Arms are attached to the body this time. They're not reaching out in front. And we're going to go overhead here. And then bring it up. And all the way down. It's a great forearm strengthener too. Should have felt those guys stay engaged. So I'm going to go ahead and turn a little relaxation music on for you all as we do a little banana pose. So you're going to be on the ground, still face up, and I want everyone to move themselves to the right side of their mat, or just think about being on the right side of a mat. All right, so just some relaxing music as we go into this position. So we're on our mat. We're on the right side, or if there is no mat, just pretend you're on the right side of your mat. And you're going to start walking your head and your shoulders to the left side of your mat. Okay, your spine will tell you when you need to stop. So we're not rotated. The shoulders are still on the ground, right? Rib cage. Now you're going to slide your left foot over as if it's going to the outside edge of your mat. And then your right foot is going to follow. I'm going to change my positioning. So we're here. I walked over. My left leg slides out. I'm going to start to walk my right foot towards my left. The right hip is still on the ground. So don't come over so far that you have to lift the hip. Okay, so just find that nice stretch. And take some breaths here. And when you're ready, you're going to snow angel your right arm along the floor, over your head, stopping when you feel a stretch. And work on every exhale, releasing the tension on that whole right side of the body. It's like you're doing a standing side bend, but you're on the ground. And you're slowly going to snow angel that right arm back down to the right side of the hip. And then move your right leg away from your left towards the right side of your mat again. And then move your left leg into the midline. You're going to move the entire body to the left side of your mat. Or just recenter your body again on the floor. We start to walk our head and our shoulders over to the right side of our mat. So you're making a little half a banana with your upper body. Remember, the shoulders not popped up, the hips are still facing the ceiling. Now slide your right leg over to the right off the edge of your mat. And then you start to walk your left leg towards your right until you feel a nice stretch. For some of us, it'll be in our back. For some of us, it'll be the front of the hip, the side of the hip, down the outside of the leg. Anywhere you feel it is right for you. But don't let the left hip pop up off the ground. And definitely do not force anything here. And then we very slowly snow angel that left arm away from the body. And by that, I just mean the back of the hand just goes along the ground until my arm goes up to where I feel a really good stretch on the outside of the rib cage. It'll intensify down into the hip. And slowly snow angel that left arm back down to the outside of the left hip. Slide that left leg back to the left side of the mat and the right leg, and just kind of recenter that body. That is a huge stretch through that lower back, those big quadratus lumborum muscles. So you're now going to just grab onto the front of your knees or the shins, and you're going to gently pull those thighs into your rib cage and round out your back a little. And you'll slowly make your way back up to a seated position. And we didn't get to spend a lot of time in that banana pose. So maybe next time we'll start with that.